Welcome. Today we are working with the Pythagorean Theorem. Pythagorean Theorem is a squared plus b squared equals c squared. C is always the side across from the 90-degree angle. A and B are the two sides that make up the 90-degree angle. And it doesn't really matter which one is A and which one is B. I've labeled them here in this case, but it doesn't truly matter as long as they're both the legs of the 90-degree angle. So in this case, a squared, 4 squared, plus b squared, 10 squared, equals c squared. In this case, they use x. So 4 squared is 16, excuse me. 10 squared is 100. Equals x squared. So I end up with 116 is x squared, and then I have to square root both sides. Now, this particular problem says simplest radical form. Now, in your homework, a lot of the problems that ask for simplest radical form come out to just things that look like this. In this particular case, it turns out I can factor something out, like 2, and that would be 558. 2 goes into this, 29 times, and 29 does not break apart. I have a pair of 2's. The 9 is going to stay, 29 is going to stay inside. So x, or c, is going to be 2 square root of 29. And there's your final answer. Our next example that we're going to do, and by the way, that's what's called simplest radical form. Here's our next example. Now, I don't say what a and b are. However, in this particular problem, the hypotenuse is c, and we're solving for c. So 11 squared plus 5 squared equals c squared. 11 squared is 121. 5 squared is 25. And when we add these up, I get 146 equals c squared. I square root both sides. C. Now, be aware you're going to need a calculator for this one. In this problem, C is the square root of 146. We're approximating, not simplifying. So 146, and I'm square rooting it. 12.08304, right? Keeps going. Now, I say one decimal place in this particular problem. So I'm looking at the 0, and I'm deciding whether the 0 is going to go up or stay the same. The 8 is 5 or bigger, so that makes this go up by 1. So 12.1 is the answer in this case. Let's look at this one. See if you can do it. Go ahead, give it a try. All right, now that you've had a chance to try it, 24 squared plus b squared equals 40 squared. Remember, this is the hypotenuse. The c is always by itself. Let's see, 24 squared is 576. And 40 squared is 1600. So the next step I'm going to do is subtract 576 to get b squared by itself. And that gives me 1024. Now, I haven't stated which way you're supposed to solve this one. If you have 1024, we're square rooting both sides. Now, I'm going to actually not put b equals. I'm going to break it apart. That's one way to do it, right? I think 4 will go into it. I divide by 4. 4 times 2, 56. Now 4 is 2 times 2, and 2, 56. Let's see if 4 goes in again. It does! 4 times 64. I'm going to have to extend this a little bit. I've got a 2, I've got 2 times 2, and 8 times 8. Well, I know 8 is 3 2s. 2 times 2 times 2. Wow, that's a lot of 2s. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pairs of 2s. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 2 times 2 is 4, times 2 is 8, times 2 is 16, times 2 is 32. Actually, I think I'll put that in a different color. Oh, no, I don't like that. There. B is 32. Now, I could have done that with my calculator. 1,024 square rooted is also 32. Depending upon which method you were asked to use. Let's look at this one. Now, you may look at this and go, wait a minute, how the heck am I going to do this when I've got a square root in the values? Well, this happens to be a 90-degree angle, so a squared, let's call 20 the a. Square root of 20 squared plus 4 squared equals c squared. The square root of something squared cancel each other out, so I just have 20. And 4 squared is 16. When I add this up, 20 and 16 is 36. And when I square root both sides, c is 6. And there's my answer. So if you have a square root being squared, the square root and the square cancel out and leave you with what's inside. Give this one a try. See how well you can do. All right, let's see how you did. 10 squared plus, a squared plus 10 squared equals 100. Square root of 120 squared. Now I can do it. There we go. All right, so a squared plus 100 equals 120. I'm going to subtract 100 from both sides. A squared equals 20. Square root both sides. Now 20, 4 times 5. 2 times 2 times 5. If I were finding the answer with simplest form, simplifying, writing it in simplest form, I'd have a pair of 2's with a 5 left over. So A would be 2 square root 5. If I'm using my calculator and I do square root of 20, A is approximately, now I should show the approximately, whoops, that's not quite right. Approximately, the wavy line, a wavy equal sign, 4.47, I'm going to round that to 4.5, 1 decimal place. And that's how you do it. And that's all there is to it. Have a great day.